Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for part 5 of the Q&A, and I'm glad to get this done. Alright, first question. I'm doing a linear progression program, and I've missed a weight on a squat twice, even after dropping the weight down 15 pounds and resetting. Do you think I should drop the weight more and work on squat volume? That's a good question. I'm going to assume you're not a complete novice anymore, and you're still trying to use some linear progression, which is perfectly fine. No, I think that you hit the nail right on the head. That is one of the best times to use volume to develop more hypertrophy so that you can get stronger through metabolic fatigue. And by just utilizing more workload is when you can no longer get strong using your fairly low volume, low reps, you're stalling, you're missing weights, your strength is starting to regress. That is an excellent time to throw in a lot of volume on the squat. And that may very well help you push past that plateau, get stronger. You could do that for something like 4 to 6 weeks maybe. Sometimes even 3 weeks will be enough to push you past that, and then you can go back to your linear progression program, and you might find that you'll bust past those old plateaus. So that's certainly a very, very viable way to do it, and I think it's worth you trying at this point from what you described to me. Okay, next question. Ramping sets versus straight sets. Gosh, this really depends on your work capacity and your level of experience. Most novice lifters do very, very well on straight sets, or sometimes even reverse pyramiding. But a lot of more advanced strength athletes, they do the ramping sets because they're starting to get a lot stronger, and they can't come in and do something like 5x5 sets across. That's why a lot of these strength program, intermediate type programs that are called 5x5s only have like 2 heavy sets, and they ramp up to a max set. And those other 5-rep sets are really just light warm-ups. So ramping sets can be very, very good for people who are trying to get peak strength out of a single set, so that you're trying to improve maximum power. And I think peak sets are very, very good, or ramping sets as you call them, I like to call them peak sets, are very, very good for developing maximum power, even if you're working with a higher rep range like 5 or 6 reps for a strength athlete. They can be very, very good for that because they let you handle maximum loads for that rep range. Whereas in the straight sets are really more of a volumistic approach. You can't use as much weight, but you will induce strength just by the total workload. And the extra hypertrophy that the workload and metabolic fatigue will give you can help you to go ahead and get stronger anyways. And they're just different tools towards the same goal, but a lot of intermediate guys, I think, do better on ramping sets. And then what will happen a lot of times is that once you start getting more advanced and the ramping sets don't ever work, then you've got to start incorporating periods of time to where you do those straight sets for more total volume. But again, we're getting into more advanced lifters. I mean, people who squat 400 pounds, deadlift 500 pounds, don't really need to spend a lot of time worrying about these things. You could just, at that point, if you're at that strength level, you can probably go over to just ramping sets and do just fine. You don't need to be switching back and forth all the time. You're probably not stalling enough to really need to do so. Leave that for guys who are a bit more advanced. All right, final question of the week. Awesome. Okay, so I've been doing your 5x5 and strong lifts for a year now, seeing great changes in physique strength and form posture, and I get a lot out of having 5x5 strength goals. However, I am shooting for UKBFF figure in October of this year, and I don't know if I need to change my training for this. Do I need to do hypertrophy and strength periodization? I'm very keen to stick with full body training, but was wondering what your thoughts are on building a stage physique on 5x5 and periodization. Would really appreciate your feedback. Here's my current condition. And Melissa included a picture. And I'm going to link her channel down below. I watch her channel from time to time because she actually uses my novice program back and forth and alternates it with strong lifts. And she has developed a very impressive physique. And a lot of you will be surprised at what she looks like, basically doing nothing but 5x5 type programs for the most part. Melissa, I would say in your case, because you're very advanced at this point, that there's nothing wrong for you running 5x5 programs in your off season, but as you start getting closer to things like figure contests, you're going to have to start adding more volume and rep work in, and it's not necessarily to maintain muscle mass better. It's because you can't handle the high workloads of low reps on the reduced calories as you're dieting down. Now, I would recommend that you keep at least one heavy set with your peak weights every week, if not more than once a week, but at least in one workout, one heavy set with your peak weights. But then a lot of your other work needs to be based around doing the higher volume and higher rep work for the purpose of training your muscles to hold more glycogen, so that when you do that final carb up coming into your bigger competition, that those muscles will hold a lot more glycogen, and particularly your weak points. When you start assessing which muscles are your weak points, those weak points, as you get closer to that contest, you're going to need to start doing more high rep isolation work for those weak points, sometimes purely to train them to pump up a little better with glycogen, which is a very temporary effect. It's not long term. You won't keep it if you drop the high reps back out. But it's just for a temporary look, and it's something to look at. And you might want to get a coach and see what your coach thinks about that. It's what I always tell people when you're going to do any sort of physique-based competition. You need to just very seriously consider hiring a coach. But if you do hire a coach, let them know that you have built your physique using low rep full body programs, so that they understand that that is what you prefer and what you like, and then they can incorporate the other work to balance your aesthetics back out. So make sure that they know that that's what you have actually used to build your foundation, and that that is what you prefer to do, and you want to continue to incorporate a lot of that into your training because it's what works for you. Alright guys, so that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time. Let me give you guys a bicep shot before I go.